Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today we're watching Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 3. This season's been interesting so far. Last episode, we were, I guess, introduced to a new character I think might be along the ride with us for a bit. His name's Omar. He is the son of Ketil, I believe his name is. And yeah, I think he wants to be a fighter and a warrior in Canute's army, but I don't know. He doesn't seem like the most capable fighter at the moment. We were also somewhat introduced to a girl that I think might come into play a little bit because Einar seems like he might be a little bit infatuated with her.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. I think that the biggest information drop we got last episode, though, that I'm most interested to learn more about is obviously the situation with Harold and Canute at the moment. It's definitely crazy how we're getting that information from such an outside source when we were so close to the source in the first season. So, Thorfinn, what do you have for me? Einar, what do you have for me? I'm excited.
A lot of cutting down of trees.
A lot of cutting down trees. That's a pretty good guess at what's going to happen this episode. Let's see if you're right. You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And they didn't let go.
I love water touching a stone shore. It's amazing.
Just caressing.
Where are we? Oh, shit!
They decided to get him very drunk.
They don't even know what they don't.
I don't know.
You're so special.
Insightful. Profound.
Are they regretting their decision at all?
It's like they've sobered up now. Fox and Badger.
He's not a fun drunk today. He got it out of the sheath. Oh! Drink in hand.
This is more than you bargained for. You are definitely sobering up now. Just let
him cook.
Yeah.
Train him. The tone.
It'll grow you right up.
Slaves in general?
Slaves in general, He would not win against Thorfinn.
People you're allowed to kill. I don't think Thorfinn lets Einar be killed. You know?
I also don't think Omar's father would be very happy with him.
Yeah.
If he were to think about the slaves that way. That they are people you were allowed to kill.
Even though, like, Thorfinn is definitely seemingly just trying to go along with the flow, not try to cause any issues, I really don't see him just sitting there. Good stretches.
秋の種まきまでにはある程度間に合わせたいとこだけど、出してすき返しやって土を寝かせて重量すきは貸してもらえんのかな。
Nightmare?
トルフィン、どうした？おい、トルフィン。
Damn. Do you think it was like the dream of getting pulled away from
Maybe.
Askeladd?
むちゃくちゃうなされてたぞ。どんな夢見りゃそんなにうなされんだよ。
Wow.
Oh.
I can't remember.
顔でも洗って朝の雑用にかかろうや。忘れる夢ってのは忘れた方が。
Better left forgotten.
Oh my goodness.
She's dressed like she might also be a slave, right?
おはようございます。いい朝ですね。
Now it is.
おはようございます。
お顔洗いますか？どうぞ。済みましたから。
あ、いや、はい。ごめん。いや、もう小高を洗った
あー
どうにもねりゃしませんので。
まあ、そんなこと。素敵なお顔だと。
Ah! Yes!
大丈夫ですか？どこかお加減が。
胸が。
まあ、大変。
大丈夫です。全然病気とかじゃない。
Wow.
胸が騒ぐ。
What a
Uneasiness
shot.
はいけない。
that you
そんな夢だったような気がする。
アルネイズと言います。
Arnade.
最近いらした方ですよ
That's a pretty
ね。
name.
イングランドから参りました。
歯がお上手だから、私てっきりノルドの人かと。
私の故郷の者は私を含め
Huh.
みんな先祖の者はイングランド語とノルド語を話します。お聞きづらいかと存じますが。
しました。私、自分の心情を言いませんでしたね。
Yeah, what is it?
旦那様のご息女
That's what I thought.
いいえ。私はあなたと同じ奴隷です。皆様のおそば使いをしています。
Okay.
なんだ朝から奴隷が集まって逃亡の相談か？お前、名前は？お前も奴隷か？見かけねえ顔だな。
エイナルです。夏から厄介になってます。
They're picking.
トルフィンとエイナル。おーっと、顔貸せや。
I am adoring the pacing right now. It's like, I want more.
何者だあいつら。下げて。肩着じゃないよな。
客人。この農場に常駐してる棒。
素敵なお顔だと思いますよ。
なんだご機嫌だな、エイ。
いや、すいません。
ああ、結構。息が良さそうだ。
A lively one. I still think Einar beats Omar. You know?
And they're all surrounding to like try to make sure the slaves don't escape.
ああ、若様。
To watch.
ズバーッと言ってみよ
まさか。
う。はい、そっちの大きい方。若様が大人になるための儀式だ。死んでくれ。
Oh my god.
Die for us. I am so uncomfortable.
No weapons or anything.
Yep.
No fight. Just a kill.
That's not an honorable warrior.
があって俺たちがそんな目に遭わなきゃならねえんだよ。
意味なんかねえよ。ただ単にお前の正当な持ち主が自分のものをどうしよう。お前らは
He's the
こちら
future
のオル
owner.
マル様んちの奴隷だ。来てくださるんだ。光栄に思え。
こいつらは親父の持ち俺のじゃない。弁償しなきゃいけねえ。
情けない若様呼んでまだそんな。いいんですか？ 殺しが怖いんですか？両方？うるせえ。別に何も
What are their
Really?
motives?
じゃあやりましょうよ。
Really pushing him at this.
トルフィ
Entertainment, I guess.
何やってんだ。行けトルフィ。ほれ頑張れ若様。相手はやる気満々です。
動くなよチ
Wow.
めんどくせえ。俺が切られますよ。
それいけ若様。
ご用は一人いれば足りるでしょう。仕事に戻してください。私が切られます。
She's the personal attendant of the father. She's gonna tell him that these two guys came and took Thorfinn and Einar.
I hope.
朝か。おい、じじい。じじい。じじい。俺の朝飯は。じじい。言うとるか。食べたかったら、たまには借り入れでも手伝う。あら、こった。なら飯は出さん。でなんとかせい。なんか作れっかよ、めんどくせえ。
What a pain, what a pain.
帰るか。
This guy looks so cool.
私がオルマル様に切られます。イナルは仕事に戻してやってください。今日も忙しいんで。
なんだって。悪いね。名前なんだっけ？
トルフィンです。
うん、トルフィン君。言葉の意味分かってる？切られるって死ぬってこと。
そうですね。
バカ野郎！お前何言ってん？てめえは黙ってろ。出る幕じゃねえ。まあにいるんだよね。こういうやつ。ねえ、そういう発言見過ごすわけにはいかないのよね。扱ってる商品の価値が落ちちゃうからね。なあ、トルフィン君。俺たち戦士の扱う商品。
さあ。
死だ。
Damn.
どんなやつでも死ぬのは怖い。どんなやつでもだ。あ、見てみろ。他人の死さえ怖がってる。それでいいんだ。怖いからこそ価値がなきゃ。剣で飯なんか食えなくなっちまうぜ。お前も怖いはずだ。怖がれ。
Oh my god, the intercutting. I don't want this to end, and I feel like it's almost close to ending.
Yeah, they are up to no good.
Has it gotten worse?
ほれ、命乞いしてみろ。素直になれ。トルフィン。小さい体がもっと小さく。
Oh, like where Canute was cut.
ほう、瞬きも信じたもんだ。あれは確か旦那んとこのと。
死ぬのを怖がらなくちゃいけないんですか？死にたくないから生きてるんですか？何かいいことありますか？俺はなかったよ。
Holy shit.
今まで生きてきていいこと一つもなかったよ。
Oh!
次は目だ。怖がれ。やめろ、キツネ。ヘビ。
Snake.
Of course his name would be fucking
Oh,
Snake.
he's afraid of Snake!
I respect Snake.
Your freaking guests?
ああ、兄貴、
boss.
Oh, he's like the boss of the bodyguards.
キツネはい近寄れははい
Punch him in the face. Yes! Haha! Loser. Dumbass.
アナグマはい
This guy's hot.
説明
Yeah, he is.
This guy's hot.
Don't end. It's gonna end, but don't. Please.
Yeah, it's over.
Okay, that was Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 3. This is gonna sound weird because there isn't much to base this off of, but I'm going to adore this season. I am really, really enjoying the season so far, and we haven't had anything that was why I loved Season 1 of this show. It is so different, and nothing crazy game-changing, life-changing significance has even occurred yet. And I am so into it. I just want to keep watching it. I don't want to stop.
I would say like the main important part of this episode being like that ending sequence was so good, from the talking about death and Thorfinn kind of reflecting on his life in the way that he did, and how infuriated it was making this warrior, that this person in front of him, like, this is like the ultimate trigger to a personality like this to piss them off, is someone who's not afraid of them. This is like obviously someone with this like complex insecurity of their own. We see later in the episode that they are not top of the food chain, and they're trying to kind of act like they are with their whole chest here.
It was done masterfully, because what happened was you have a character build themselves up in such a great line of dialogue that was, do you know what our product is that we sell? Death. And then you have somebody like Thorfinn completely being like, taking away the product from him, taking away his entire life, his entire career, his motive for living, his job right now, what gives him control of his life. You're taking it away.
He took that away, but he also made this guy's choice here be like between, like, you know, you're not winning here, because it's kind of embarrassing to kill this slave that's not scared once you're saying all these things in front of all these other men about how I'm gonna make you afraid. That's freaking embarrassing. If you actually don't get fear out of him and then you end him, then all the other guys will be like, haha, yeah, good job, dude. Like, there's no winning for him here, and that's why he's like even more pissed off.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he's trying to seem powerful and impressive here, and Thorfinn's not giving him an option that's not possibly embarrassing for him and his pride.
You kill Thorfinn here, you lose. Like,
Yeah.
you've lost. Like, you have put your cards on the
His pride
table.
isn't gonna let him. His pride is telling him, no, just do one more slice. He'll fear then. Your eye next. Fear then.
Yeah.
You know, he's like upping the ante, because he's like, no, I'll definitely get this guy scared. I'll just keep making it worse and worse. And like, obviously, he's, I would say, probably great with the sword, because he's doing such shallow cuts. He's trying to like prolong the pain to try to get the fear.
Yep.
Without actually just doing a death blow or like a wound that wouldn't be able to heal.
Yeah. I have a couple of like, I have a couple of questions, right? So in terms of Thorfinn's character, with where we're at right now, I am still trying to really get a clear image of where he's at, because this is obviously the closest we've got to understanding it.
Yes.
But so at the moment, we had theorized that, okay, Thorfinn, after that thing with Canute, put into slavery, he ended up here, right? But I guess up until this moment, when he starts asking questions like, why do we have to fear death? I've been like, okay, you've been quiet, you've been determined with your work and trying to not make trouble for anyone. Do you have any motive? Do you have any plan Do you have any aspirations anymore now that Askeladd's gone and that was taken away from you, right? But these lines of dialogue, why do we have to fear death? Do we live because we don't want to die? His reflection on his own life. Not a single good thing has happened to me in my entire life. Like, what do you do going forward with his character?
So what I'm gonna latch onto is because these lines and kind of getting open into Thorfinn's mind here at the end, I think that the answer to that question of what do we do going forward with him, we go back to the beginning of the episode where he has a terrible nightmare. He does not remember what it was. Einar has a line like, oh, well, if you don't remember, then it wasn't important enough to remember. It can be forgotten. But he says that he feels uneasy and feels like it was something he mustn't forget.
Yeah.
There is something that he is either blocking emotionally, a memory he's blocking, a feeling he's blocking. Here we could maybe attribute the nothing good's happened in my life to he's blocking out good things that have happened in his life.
Yeah.
And that's what he's forgetting, but he knows he shouldn't be deep down.
Well, nothing from Thorfinn's perspective, like, and following his life, nothing good did happen in his life from his point of view.
Mm-hmm.
He had one goal.
And he didn't achieve that goal.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, when we watched him having the nightmare, the way that his arms were pointed out in the air very much reminded me of him reaching for Askeladd.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if, like, replaying that moment in my head, is all Thorfinn seeing so much red that everything that Askeladd said to him in his dying moments was fallen on deaf ears, you know?
Those could be the things being forgotten, because if we're saying that the scene that he's in his nightmare is the scene right after those important pieces of dialogue, then you'd have to think that in the nightmare he might have reheard those lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
That the nightmare might have started once he ran in there initially and saw that, you know, and tried to go in there and save Askeladd and had those lines of dialogue from him. Maybe that sentiment and those words that we at the time were like, is this even gonna hit?
Yeah.
Like, we wanted it to. We were like, this is the last chance that we can see in the foreseeable future, that these specific dialogue pieces, these words coming from the right mouth, could possibly hit or reach this person.
Yeah.
Because even though we had really great moment with Leaf in that same episode, thinking like, oh, maybe this is a character who's the correct mouthpiece for these words, but it obviously wasn't. It didn't work out. It didn't hit. Then we're Askeladd, the dying words. We're like, this, if anything, could be it. And it's I think that it would make sense if those words in that moment, other than being dragged away, is something that he's still not focusing on.
You wonder, like, what will we ever see a Thorfinn that is motivated again and has a, you know, that it doesn't have this same outlook.
He got an out. Life. He got an out of getting motivated in this episode by Snake appearing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to get motivated here in this scene or for the foreseeable future at all, because now he's been saved.
I hate feeling like a pessimist, but in terms of not like story or anything like that, but in trying to understand Thorfinn, like what can be that thing, that drive at the moment, like other than Vinland, which was the closest thing to killing Askeladd that we saw almost like rekindle something in Thorfinn's eye. What would have to happen in front of him to give motivation or like inspiration? Because I can imagine, hell, going forward with Snake, I can imagine an outcome that Thorfinn's new job will be fighting, and that will get us fighting Thorfinn back, but that's not what I'm looking for. Like, I'm wanting Thorfinn to find some semblance of peace and happiness and closure.
So I would say that the peace that we're possibly being given is Einar. A more pure, a more in touch with his emotions, and reactive because of that.
Yeah.
Dedicated, loving, caring, still holding on to semblances of humanity, to the fact that he has a crush on a girl,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, my heart. Like, he's still as pure as he possibly could be with the situation that he has been put in. And I feel like a true possible friend here, who is now in the future, obviously they're not friends yet, but Einar is getting, in this scene, as we are, an explanation about Thorfinn.
Yeah.
And how he feels. Einar in this episode saw the nightmares, knows that there's probably some really heavy stuff from Thorfinn's past early in the episode. Later on in the episode, Thorfinn decides to sacrifice himself for Einar, which is not going to mean nothing, to even if he thinks it's stupid.
Yeah.
And then hearing this death explanation, it's gonna pique a character like that's interest in Thorfinn even more, to understand this person and talk to them more.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think that if you asked Thorfinn if he had friends, he'd say no. If you asked Einar after this interaction happened, they're best friends. Or
Einar he at least
like,
wants to be and wants to understand Thorfinn better and know him better.
Yeah, like I completely agree with that. But, like, is there any future that could be a pushing force to change Thorfinn's mentality at the moment?
So when I bring up Einar, I'm saying that maybe we're not looking for some flashy action thing that's gonna spark motivation and change, but something more of the real life relationships, therapeutic sense, that like having someone that you can finally open up to or understand yourself better through opening your mouth and telling that person about yourself. Thorfinn has ever since he was a small child, he has kind of not really had someone that he could emotionally invest in and speak to and discover himself through talking to that person. And we could be seeing that true movement for Thorfinn and maybe a desire to be alive again would come through actual real interpersonal connection.
Interesting.
Instead of like a moment of narrative action causing sparks.
I don't think that a moment like that could exist. And I in the well-written story that Vinland Saga is, that wouldn't make much sense.
We have said that we felt like Thorfinn might be a slow grow.
Well, yeah, definitely, for sure, considering what the prologue was. But I'm wondering, like, I don't think it could be Vinland being brought up again, but like in the conversation that you're talking about that might happen between Einar and Thorfinn, I think that if there is an opening up, or not even an opening up, just questions from Einar being answered, if somebody like Einar was listening to Thorfinn's story, if that was reiterated, if his own story was reiterated out of somebody like Einar's mouth and from a different perspective of what happened to Thorfinn and how he did survive and live with this person he wanted to kill for so long, and yeah, he was used and twisted and left out to die, but he was also taught things and taught lessons and told stories. And I wonder if that is acknowledged and spoken on by Einar after hearing stories that could, I don't know, give Thorfinn a different perspective, or maybe, I don't know.
Well, another thing to bring up is what character has already interacted with Einar that is that loving person that cares for Thorfinn, that's been looking for him.
Leaf.
We can't forget that, and Einar hasn't said it, we haven't seen him tell Thorfinn that he's jealous. You have this family member, this person that loves you, that's looking for you, that wants to release you from this. And obviously Thorfinn's not even probably thinking about the fact that he's still being, that someone that's alive wants him alive, if you will.
I wonder how many Thorfinns there are in this region that Einar, if that could be a reason that he hasn't brought it up, because it's just like, oh, it could be anybody.
But But also, like, what's happening in his life is so
massive.
obviously massive for his circumstance, what he just has witnessed or been witness to. It might just not be the first thing in his brain.
What do you think Snake's involvement is going to be here on out? Like, do you think that him stopping this and acknowledging Thorfinn's, I don't know, like, how impressive he is, right? His lack of flinching or blinking.
Yeah, he was impressed by that.
Do you think that it's, like, piqued interest of wanting to have him in his own group? Would he try to buy Thorfinn? Like what route and role is going to take place with Snake interrupting this?
I guess narratively, I couldn't see Thorfinn being taken out of this deal that he and Einar both have with the master, of the fact that they need to clear these woods for their freedom.
Yeah.
Narratively, that was put into place in like the first episode, as this is a mission that these two characters will be doing together. And so it would be interesting if they were to actually just kind of bypass that and Thorfinn was no longer a part of that. It's not what I would like think in my head is going to be happening, but possibly an interest in, definitely. Interactions, definitely. Using him to train with or help train other people, or maybe to train Olmar, maybe.
I mean, thinking of why these people are even here, Fox, Badger, Snake, they're bodyguards, right?
Mhm.
If you learned that you had somebody that you own who is far much more capable than any of your bodyguards, would you rather have them working towards their freedom in this way, or working towards their freedom in this way that they're more proficient in, that they could also protect me if I need it?
Yeah, and maybe that's why we get introduced to the other slave, Arnid.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna probably pronounce it right. I would need to hear it a few more times. But she is obviously a different slave with like a different job.
Yeah.
So that could be giving us that isn't just for Einar, but it is for the fact that there are other purposes, other jobs that the slaves can hold that would be seen as important to the family.
Personal attendant,
personal bodyguard, could go the direction of personal bodyguard to Olmar himself, and even a trainer in fighting. That's possible. That
would show us as like as the audience, like, oh, we get to see Thorfinn's fighting, but alongside the character that he is right now. It wouldn't be like oh yeah, I'm gonna try to kill you fighting. You know, it's like more like, okay, this is my job, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and also, how is the head of the family even going to feel about these guests in his home taking his property and slicing it up?
Yeah. Oh, well, here's a question. Do we even see Thorfinn fight anytime soon? I don't need it, if I'm completely honest.
I don't need it.
But narratively, like, we're putting up theories that, oh, training Olmar, whatever. Just because Snake is stopping this doesn't mean that Thorfinn's going to be given a sword and asked to show him what he has, you know?
Nope. Yeah, exactly. If anything, it has piqued interest for a few characters in Thorfinn and understanding him better, maybe finding out where he came from and what his history is. All we know is that he was saved here not because he was impressive to this person, because he didn't flinch, but because he is not, what is the word that they used? Like, you do not own yourself, or you are not, it was something along the lines of like that Einar and Thorfinn don't own their own lives.
Yeah.
And it is because that they are the property of the master that this is stopped.
Yeah.
Not because he was impressive to the character Snake.
Like in Olmar talking about like, oh, I would have to pay my father back. Like, your rightful owner is free to do whatever he pleases with his possessions. And then saying you're a slave that belongs to Olmar's family, you know? Do you think that that's the reason that Snake stopped it? That it's because of that, rather than the, like, seemingly, like, ability and lack of reaction of Thorfinn?
I think that piqued his interest, but I would say that he would have stopped this regardless of what slave was getting cut up here.
Gotcha.
If he's the boss, he's the one that has to answer to the person
That's
that they're
very
living on their
true.
land.
That's
He'd
very
be
true.
the one getting in trouble.
His introduction this episode was so interesting because it was like the way that they spliced it together and paced it was like you knew that we're going to be seeing a character after you put out into the world the idea of it being Arned like telling the master what was happening, and we saw that it was somebody else. I'm like, okay, obviously he's going to end up interrupting what's happening with Thorfinn.
Because why else would be getting him spliced
But
right now?
who, why,
Who are
and
you?
what's going to come of it? And
right. And I
it's
was
so
like, it can't be
interesting.
another slave because what?
I know what's going to happen.
What?
I know what's going to happen.
What is it?
Thorfinn will be taken as into like one of the guests and as a bodyguard, and he's going to be given a name, and it's going to be Wolf.
Oh, cute! I like it.
It's snake, fox, badger. It's going to happen. Like
Wolf.
Right? That's what we know of as Thorfinn. Like
Mhm.
that has to happen narratively. I feel like it has to.
If you're doing animal names,
Yeah,
then come on, it's pretty clear.
you have to.
You have to.
He doesn't have an ear.
Yeah, he got his ear chopped off. Snake is hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
so
true.
that needs to be
It
said.
seems like he's a little bit like of a lazy head who wants
Yeah.
his breakfast cooked for him though. Which I mean,
so like not. You don't bring him home to mom.
if you bring him home to mom, he fucks your mom.
He fucks your mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the kind of
Exactly.
person then vibe I'm getting from Snake.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I love it.
Don't bring him home into your family, or your family is gonna get severely.
More or
broken up.
less impressive in terms of battling than Thorfinn. What do you think?
Like a guess.
If you had to guess.
I would say we're creating him to possibly fill the shoes of Askeladd in terms of fighting ability.
I
or
think
strength.
that I do not think he's as strong as Askeladd. I think he's weaker than Thorkel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I
my
guess
guess.
we'll see. I don't feel like Thorfinn can beat him.
I think Thorfinn could beat him.
My guess is that Thorfinn won't be able to narratively.
Okay, it would be close, maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not very confident that Thorfinn could beat him, but I think it would be close. Thorfinn's fucking Bro, Thorkel could throw any object in the room at any person
Well,
here.
Thorkel, I just wouldn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Regardless, he's just the brute strength on that guy. He could just like flick
Dude,
me. and
Thorkel would be
my head
so
would explode.
disappointed in what Thorfinn's like mentality is right now.
Well, remember Thorkel's kind of
Reaction.
reaction and face upon seeing how Thorfinn was acting? You could read that as disappointment.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I do want to, like, that dream that Thorfinn woke up. I really just have the image of him right before he drops the knife. Like, that's what it gives to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want Thorfinn to be happy.
We just want him to be happy.
He's might be one of my favorite, like, pro tags at the moment. Like, that's how it's building up for me. I'm so sold on this season. This is so interesting to me.
Really happy to have an older version of him.
Yeah.
I'm definitely liking this time skip
Not enough, like,
with him.
I was about to say not enough writers do that, but that's part of the reason why it works. Like, you have to be able to do it the right way, and it feels so great right now.
Feels good right now. It will hopefully continue to feel good.
Like, there has to be a narrative purpose. You don't age up a character just to change visuals. You age up a character to change presence, right? Like, broadly talking about Dragon Ball for the 1000th time, when that age up happened, it was taking a character that you're seeing progress and becoming powerful as a peer, and then after that age up, you're putting him on a pedestal. Like, you're inherently changing what the character offers to the story and what their role in that story is. And that's the only correct way, in my opinion, to make that jump in a character. And I am loving every second of it so far.
In terms of romance,
Mm.
Einar has a chance. Like, even more so than he already probably did. the fact that there's no status difference or class difference.
I thought Einar might
Definitely
die
helps.
after how wonderful that interaction
yeah.
went. I was like, this is the best thing imaginable. Shit, he's gonna die. And I was like, no way he's gonna die. But then I was like, Vinland Saga, fuck, he might die. But he didn't die.
He didn't die.
Yet.
And she said that she didn't think he was horrible looking, so.
It's the best
Yay.
compliment you could
It's
ask
the
for.
best- You don't look too horrible.
You should wash your face. There would be benefit to it.
Yeah.
I love it. Alright, that's all I have you.
Mhm.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we hope to see you next time.